And good morning. This is day 3. I think at some point I'm going to lose count of the days because it's all a blur, isn't it, after Christmas is over. And today is going to be a day to look at a new gift. And if you're feeling a bit, oh, good, it's all over, or did you spend yesterday doing the sales and buying more stuff? I have no idea. But either way, during the past few days, hopefully, and in a good way, because who knows, but in a good way, hopefully, you have received a lot of presents, a lot of gifts, perhaps a lot of happiness, a lot of beauty, a lot. So today's gift word is receive. And it has, as I always say, it has two edges, because we think receive, it's a bit like abundance. When I drew the angel card abundance, I'm always very careful to say, and good abundance, because you don't want an abundance of crap, do you? Not really. And it's the same for receive. We assume that we've got the gift of receive and it's going to be wonderful stuff, but also it might be the gift of receiving whatever comes our way with grace and trying to understand what it might lead to, what the teaching is in it. So when you're receiving something that's not quite right for you, like a present, somebody's got it wrong, or receiving a feeling that's not quite your feeling, or whatever, which is not quite right. The gift of today is to find a way to accept it and receive it and integrate it and find the teaching in it. It's not always possible, and sometimes really bad stuff happens and there's no way you can do, oh, thank you very much. But some of the time it's possible to think of it that way. So instead of being hit with the disappointment or the negative feeling, you actually get hit with that, work through it, and then you are able to receive the teaching from it, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And it's slightly different, but every morning I've got my list of words and I will just sit there and talk to you, and whatever comes out, comes out. So your gift is the word receive, the energy of receiving without any quantitative level to it. So good things, bad things, doesn't matter. It's the energy of receiving and being able to process the receiving. It's not the same as grace, being grateful. It's a different feeling. Receiving doesn't have any connotation like being grateful. It's very different. We see me and words again. We're going about words. So we are looking at receiving whatever it is we are being given with as much grace as we can, and processing that and learning how to do that. How to process receiving things that are not necessarily pleasant to us. Like, I don't know, somebody will say something. You know what it's like? Somebody says something completely out of the blue. And then you're like, ouch. And then you kind of like, it's festering inside of you. And you receive it, but you don't. It's kind of like, or you're bouncing it off or whatever. And what I'm encouraging you today is that I'm going to receive. I'm going to receive it. And then I'm going to take teaching out of it. Or I'm going to shrug it off, it doesn't matter. But I know it's not going to trigger me into yet another enactment of an old story. I hope this is interesting and it's looking at it from another angle. So I'm going to tap on the side of the hand again, and I'm going to ask you today to focus on the energy of the word receive. And I'm assuming when you're doing this, you are not driving, and I want you to think about just today, this morning, this minute. Bring yourself here right now, who you are, whatever happened before, what will happen later, doesn't matter. At your age, who you are, and contemplating the energy of the word receive. And I want you to tap along with me, as we do every morning, as I am saying, and as I've said before, and I'll say it again, you don't need to say the words if they don't feel right for you. You can say other words, or you can just tap along. Even though Bea has just suggested this idea of receiving that doesn't feel quite as comfortable as receiving beautiful presents, for example. She's also suggesting that maybe receiving is about generally receiving anything that comes our way and being able to find the teaching in it. And that feels odd, perhaps, or I don't like it, or it feels wonderful, I have no idea, fill in the blanks. And I feel ... about that. And I accept myself. And even though this idea that receiving is an energy and a word that has an energy, and I can make of it, that energy, what I wish. I can take it in and I can pull it through me and let it go, or I can keep it in for a while. Because sometimes if we have received a lovely gift, it's nice to keep it in your heart for a bit. But don't forget, you have to let it go, because if you don't let energy flow, we'll get stuck. And then energy blocks happen, and then, well, you know, we all know what happens there. So that energy of receiving, the energy of receiving. I receive. And I want you to open, top of the head, I'm receiving. I'm ready to receive. Whatever, I'm ready to receive. And I'm ready to learn how to receive whatever. And it might feel a bit daunting or difficult, but I'm curious to find out more about it. Maybe I could think about receiving whatever with grace and be with it and get the teaching out of it that I need. Yeah? Breath. And then we're going to tap again. Even though I'm not quite sure how I'm going to be doing this receiving thing in the way Bea is talking about it, I'm curious to find out how I can do it. I'm curious to find out whether it would be possible to not just is a bad word, to be receiving and processing whatever comes my way. And finding a teaching in it, finding a healing in it. And I understand that sometimes it's not going to be easy, and sometimes it's going to take a while, but I'm curious to find out what it would be like if I could do that. Even though this feels a bit odd to me right now, I accept this is where I'm at right now, and I am curious to move on from this. And I love and accept myself anyway. So just tapping on top of the head, and this idea of I'm going to experiment with receiving whatever comes and allow myself to be with it and try to find teachings out of it, whatever it is, and be with it. And it's not easy to do, and I know it's not easy to do, and yet I'm curious to find out what it would be like to be someone who is able to receive whatever comes their way and kind of get something out of it instead of being stuck in the old story or returning to the old story. Okay, how does that feel? I'm hoping that you are enjoying this series of very short tapping sessions. I'm not getting many comments, but that's fine. It is, again, this business of receiving. I'm sending it out. I am, of course, hoping that people are going to find it useful, and yet I receive a lot of pleasure from doing it. It's a challenge I've made for myself. Can I do this? I've never done this before. So can I remember every morning to post something at 9 o'clock and talk for a while about my passion, which is EFT tapping, and how it can help you live a better life. So if you are enjoying this, it would be nice to know. If you want to share it with your friends, please do. And if you want to experience this with me in a much deeper way, then do get in touch, because my specialty is I help people rebuild their lives after difficulties and traumas using EFT tapping and my vast experience of many therapeutic theories and practices. I hope you have a lovely day. Take it easy. Yes, please do. And I hope it's very sunny your way because it's beautiful over here in Ireland. So much love.